So, if you've been watching Fox News, you might be thinking that there's like a small revolution in America. Hell, even if you're a member of Prep you still think the same thing. That's because that's what it looks like, right? Now, some people say that it's akin to the Tea Party craze in 2009 when rich Republicans ignited a political movement by lighting a fire under their already outraged Republican base. But you can't really compare the Tea Party of 2009 to what's happening right now in 2020. The Tea Party was a fair representation of the Republican Party back in 2009, but these anti-lockdown protests aren't really a fair representation of the Republican Party today. Believe it or not, most Republicans aren't as stupid as they seem. I spent hours debunking all the stupid shit they say, and even I don't think that they're that far gone. You don't have to take my word for it. Let's look at what Politico has to say. 72% of Republicans believe that Americans should continue the social distancing measures that are in place. So, if a vast majority of Republicans think that it's more important to stop the virus than resume economic activity, then what's up with all these protesters? How is this any different from the Tea Party situation of 2009? Let's see what Theda Skopel has to say. He's the author of the book, The Tea Party and the Remaking of Republican Conservatism. So he can help shed some light on this matter. He says that back in 2009, media cheerleaders were pushing ultra-free market libertarian ideas to a group of angry protesters who were genuinely angry at Obama. They were especially angry about the immigration and social benefits for people that they believed weren't contributing enough to America. Now, in 2020, we have the same media cheerleaders and advocacy groups who are arguing for the lockdown restrictions to be lifted, but they're pushing this message to a group of Republicans that aren't actually angry about the restrictions. Is it true that some conservatives are genuinely angry about the restrictions? Yes. After all, they do tend to live in areas that haven't been hit as hard as the metro areas, but most of them still support the restrictions. Think about that. Most of them still support the restrictions. So, what's happening? Well, if you look into it, you may find that the protests are actually emptier than the Trump rallies. There's like less than a few hundred people turning up to protest. At max, it's like thousands. This isn't some like big protest. We have like hundreds and thousands of Republicans going out. But this is like the impression that you'd get if you watch Fox News or like any media channel. So it's been pretty effective. So unlike the grassroots movement that happens from the bottom up, this is like a top-down movement that's been there's been like special interests and corporations that have been pushing this. So who are the key players that are pushing this down? There's FreedomWorks, a right-wing advocacy group that helped turn the famous CNBC television rant into dozens of like rallies across the country in February of 2009. That was the origin of the Tea Party. Then you got your media players like Sean Hannity, and now we have rich CEOs like Elon Musk that are more interested in their bottom line. Even though the Tesla stock is like at $800, he's more interested in how he's gonna make money than the lives of his workers. Now, we also had NBC News that reported that various pro-gun groups were behind several of these anti-quarantine rallies. So while the protesters are genuine activists, a lot of it is just like special interest groups like those pro-gun groups, and you have corporations that are pushing for this lockdown restrictions to be lifted, and now this is like creating an illusion of like popular support because of these organizations going behind the scenes. This is literally astroturfing 101. A lot of people think that the protests are about economic frustration. Theda Skopel doesn't agree. He says that it's much more likely that this is a result of people that have made a commitment to Trump, and they see this as defending him. And I agree with him. This is really just like a big made-for-TV rally, and it's designed to generate outsized coverage, and it's working. So what the protest is really about is gaining and maintaining political power. A win for UBI is a loss for Republicans. So if the Republicans can stop us from seeing how helpful a government can actually be, then it helps their talking point of advocating for smaller governments, which is basically a way for them to justify tax cuts for the rich. Now, I'd love to talk more about the reasons behind why the special interest groups are behind this, but I'll have to leave it for the next time. If you already subscribed to me, then you'll be notified as soon as I make a new video. Oh, and I'd also like to launch a new thing called You Heard It Here First, wherein I'll recap either things I've said or the predictions I've made. I haven't really seen popular YouTubers cover astroturfing, so I think you probably heard it here first, maybe. And so today's prediction is that instead of seeing more fascists like Trump in the future, we will see more of these Justin Amash type Republicans that are more like, moderate. And, they'll brand themselves as true evangelicals who will quote unquote rescue the party like some kind of like Jesus figure. And they'll say that Trump was a Democrat all along. He was a false prophet, and they're the true Jesus loving, Bible thumping, gunslinging Republicans. Well, that concludes my small episode of You Heard It Here First. If you'd like to hear more about what I have to say, then you should subscribe to my YouTube channel. Alright, I'll see you guys next time.